everybody, welcome to Old People Playing Board Games. And today, Lori and I just finished playing Ierusalem and Darwin by Carmen G. Jimenez. And I don't know if Carmen is a man or a woman. And it's published by DeVere Games. It's a wonderful publishing job, an excellent box this game comes with, nice sturdy box. And all the components in it are top-notch. I'm not going to get into detail. The cardstock is linen. All the tokens are wonderful wood tokens. The meeples are cute. And it comes with a ton of stickers that I didn't have to place. My editor did all of that for me.
And it took about an hour.
That was very nice. Took her about an hour, she said. And like some of the apostles have two sticker for each side. Fortunately, the meeples are only one-sided. And then
the resources.
The Jesus tile is a big, thick tile that goes on the board, and it's very attractive. So I really like that. And then the Sanhedrin tile is very nice, big, chunky piece of wood. Board's gorgeous. I mean, the artwork on the cover is fantastic. I love that. I love that picture. I really like that. So I love the artwork. I love the artwork on the player boards, on the cards. Everything gives you that feel, that Middle Eastern feel. That is the setting for this game, of course. And that's going to be the subject of conversation whenever anybody is exposed to this game for the first time. This is a grid coverage, worker placement, hand management, and set collection game for 1 to 4 players, and the winning condition is the most points, which we scored 200 and change. Yeah, 200. I think Lori was up in 228, and I was on 245. So you're going to go around this scoring track a couple of times. This is a point salad game. You're going to score points for just about everything that you're going to do in the game. And there's end game bonus points having to do with these tiles.
Parables.
Parables, yeah, the parable tiles. And, well, also I want to mention the game does come with a nice player aid that works very well. It's not playing card size, it's a little larger, so we appreciate that for sure. And there's stuff on there that's very useful, iconography of what things mean and so forth. We had a lot of kitty interference while we were playing this game, so it took us a little longer than our playtime. We estimated it to be about 90 minutes, and that's a little bit long for us.
And the game feels long.
Yeah, it feels long.
Like it could finish sooner.
And we've tried going over in our head on different ways to, because the trigger at the end of the game, you can do a couple different things. Put out all of your followers, one color of the followers, once all those are on the board, it ends. And then once the Sanhedrin token reaches the top, the game will end. And once all the apostles are out, that can trigger the end of the game also.
It just makes the Sanhedrin track move faster.
Yes. Makes the Sanhedrin track work. But those are all end game triggers, all 3 of those things. And one of them needs to happen faster.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but and it's the game is fun. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, we had fun playing the game. Yep. This is only our second play, and we had fun both times playing its 2-player count. We haven't played it on the other side where you have the favor tokens, and it's like anything else. If you've never done that, you don't know what you're missing anyways. Yeah. We'll probably get this to the table at 3 and 4 eventually, but right now we've just played it a couple times at 2. And we had fun doing it. And we were predisposed, of course, to like this game because of the thematic value of it. We enjoyed it very much. We are born-again Christians, and this is a theme that's very near and dear to us, so this is a game that's going to stay in our library. If it had a different theme, I don't know if I would say that.
It's too long.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that, but that's a big, that's a big if, because again, the theme is fantastic in this game, and we've had several Christian-based board games that we've played before. We played commissioned, and we didn't.
It was okay, but
it's okay.
It's pandemic, and pandemic does it a little better.
And then we have another game called Animals on Board, which is about the Ark, and we love that game, and it's still in our library.
It's an I Split You Choose.
I Split You Choose. Yeah, it's a game that we've hung on to over the years. It's a set collection, an I Split You Choose thing, and it's a fast game, but it's done very well. And we like that game a lot too. And then we just received in the mail for my birthday another Christian-themed game called Deliverance, but this is going to be paired with, definitely, Darwin's Journey. So we're going to compare those 2 games. And we've played Darwin's Journey once already? Twice? We played Darwin's Journey. We're going to play it again today.
And try to use the expansion.
Yeah, and try to use the expansion and see how that works. But I will tell you this, Darwin's Journey is a better design. in my opinion, it's Simone Luciani, and he's just a tremendous board game designer.
Game plays smoother,
Yeah,
I think.
it plays smoother. This game, again, it's a wonderful game. I mean, if this theme means something to you, you're going to love this game, and it means something to us. So we ended up loving the game. It just, I think, needed some tweaks here and there, and I guarantee you, somebody on Board Game Geek is going to come up with something.
Yeah, somebody will fix it.
Yeah, somebody's going to make this game end a little sooner, because it just is just a little bit too long. But the mechanics in it work well together.
Yep.
It's a hand management thing. Everybody starts out with the same deck of cards, and you're trying to put a set collection on your player board to trigger some of these apostles. There's 3 different apostles and Judas. And then once you put together these icons in one of those rows on your player board, then you're going to go ahead and take advantage of that apostle's benefit and place it near Jesus in the Last Supper. It's a little bit of a temporary deck builder, because you're going to be able to get these 33 AD cards or the Mahane cards. They go into your hand immediately, and when you do that, it just stays in your hand until you spend it or discard it. So you are always going to have 5 cards in your hand, and the way you do that is by drawing up out of those 10 cards that you're going to start the game with. That's in the 2-player game I'm talking about. But in this game, you're simply going to be doing hand management, where you're trying to play these cards. You play 1 card every turn, and you're going to do what is, the action is on the upper left-hand corner. You'll take that action and then do the bottom actions in that order. You have to do them in that order, and you don't have to do any of them. So if you find yourself, and especially at the end of the game, where I didn't need to place any more followers, but I would have that go to the temple action. I didn't need to go there, so I didn't have to take that action. But I needed to play that card because I needed what was on the bottom of it. So yeah, so that happened to me quite a bit towards the end of the game.
If the Sanhedrin action comes up, you do have to take that one.
You have to, yeah,
that's the only required action.
Yeah, you can't skip that, because the game will be exponential.
You wouldn't want to skip that.
You don't want to skip that.
You might want to, I guess, because you only score. You wouldn't want to go there if your opponent was going to score, but just don't play it then. Because
I even got to the point where I would be like, oh, did I tap my elbow? I can't remember. Let's move that up. Let's get this game going a little bit. But you have, because it's a 2-player only game, you have a lot of friendly followers, they're called, in the center of the board. Everything that you see here that's red and blue are friendly followers that were placed out before the game started. The green and yellow ones that you see are Lori and I's player color, and those are the ones we placed from these locations over here to the Last Supper area. And you have to place your followers from here to the Last Supper. You can't take them off your player board and put them to the Last Supper. So they have to come from here, even on an invitation, even if you're invited to the Last Supper. So there's 2 ways to get there. You're going to have an icon that's going to go to the Last Supper, and then an icon that's going to be an invitation to the Last Supper, and that's on some of the cards and one of the apostles. So your goal is to get, as many followers in the right positions at the Last Supper, closest to Jesus, is the way you're going to score the most points. And so there's different mechanics that are going to happen. There's ones that let you change places with another follower on the board, and it can be a little mean, a little cutthroat. So you're gonna, if you take your opponents and move them out of a place. Like did I have 4?
I think you had all 4.
Yeah, I think I had all 4 positions next to Jesus one time, and then Lori had that mechanic that let her switch positions with one of the other followers, and so she switched with mine twice, and we ended up both of us being very close to Jesus, which makes the game even better. But so Ant Lab Games does a wonderful job teaching this game. They do a really, really good video on that on YouTube. So if you really want to know how to play the game, watch them. They do a very good job, and we've learned various games from those folks. They seem very nice, Anthony and Francis.
We got to meet them once.
Yeah, and so anyways, we watched their video and read the rule book, and it's a pretty easy and straightforward game. So yeah, but it's a pretty big Euro game. I mean, it's what you would expect, except again, I think something could have been done to get that timer down a little bit. And if someone will come up with it, Lori talked about, well, why don't we take one of the apostles, because there's only 4 of each apostle. Just pick one, and whenever you trigger that apostle, move the Sanhedrin marker up, and that would be 4 spaces. So that might do it. That's probably a really good idea. Somebody's going to run with that and take credit for it. And Mrs. Bones Collector thought of it. But that's a good idea, something like that, to get this marker up quicker. Because the tension has to be there, and that if that timer's pushing you, like you're going to be scrambling and thinking harder, like, I mean, the Sanhedrin marker's going, it's 3 spaces away. I mean, and there's...
I'm not ready yet.
There's still some of those... that apostle left, so it's possible that that thing's going to end within the next few turns. And so what can I do to trigger another apostle action, or what can I do to get some of my followers to the Last Supper in prime positions in order to score some points? And some of these friendly followers are good point scoring machines also, because once you are allowed to move or place one of these friendly followers, you get them in groups and you score that many points. And we had one where we scored 8 points, I think.
We got 8 or 12.
We had 8 of them together in one group, and so you add to that, and then you can score quite a few points. But that's mainly to the early midway point of the game, because once we got our followers, the board
filled up.
The spaces get tight, and you can't get any friendly followers out there. So that happens towards the end of the game. You got to get those points a little bit earlier.
And the friendly followers are only in the 2 and 3 player game. 2
and 3 player, that's correct.
And then, probably solo. I don't
when
know.
you play 4 players, there's no friendly followers in the game.
Yeah.
But all these spaces
that
will
would
be
make
open.
It different.
And then underneath all these followers are different benefit icons that you can take advantage of if you place there in certain situations. Sometimes you don't get anything when you're using friendly followers. And then when you're placing your own followers, if you're going to take a friendly follower, you don't get anything either. You just get that friendly follower, which you get to place later and get some points or whatever. And so that's pretty neat. And then it has a point scoring track here for the parables, depending on how many. And you had 6 parables. So
I scored 15 points.
15 points, yeah, you did really good on that.
And there's things on that track that you're covering up with the parables on your player board that you get rewards.
On your player boards, every other one.
Yeah, every
other one has a reward.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You got 1 more. You got 18 points.
It wouldn't have helped. 3 more points wouldn't have done it.
No, 3 more points would have done it. We weren't that far apart when you talk about 200 and.
I know.
See, I'm on 45. You're on 28. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about 200 some points. That's not very much.
And you don't want anybody behind Judas, because anybody behind Judas loses points.
Yeah. So we ended up. Judas was taken next to last, or was he last?
He was next to the last.
Next to last. And fortunately, she couldn't put him in one of my rows because there was apostles in all my rows. Yeah, so because you would take Judas and put them in front of one of your opponent's followers, and it would be minus points.
For instance, last game he put it in front of mine, and I lost 9 points.
So yeah, fortunately she couldn't stick me with that. But Judas, he can be vicious. It's not that much, but
no, it's not.
If it's close, it could make a difference.
Yeah.
But the game is outstanding. Again, you have this Sanhedrin track over here. You have tiles that are going to be on the Sanhedrin track, and once you start the game, they're all turned over, and they have different rewards. Once this Sanhedrin tile hits that, the person that has the most of whatever that happens to be gets those points, and the other person gets half.
No, the person who moved the marker there gets the points. The other person gets half.
Is that the way it works?
Yes.
This isn't a lot of points, but it can be. Yeah, like if this
That's
had
why you want to be the one to move the marker, because you get the points.
Yeah, but I mean, this tile would have been a lot of points, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but we didn't get there.
Yeah,
that would have been a lot of points. Whoever got there would have got a lot of points.
I mean, these tiles are put up here randomly, and if this one gets put towards the end and you can reach it, you're going to get a lot of points. But once you trigger the end of the game and this just moves up, you turn all these face down, and you don't get the points. But man, if we could have gotten that up there, that would have been a lot of points.
I was trying.
A point for every follower.
I couldn't find anything to move the Sanhedrin.
Yeah, 'cause you had a lot. 2, 4, 5. How many followers are there?
I don't know, but I had them all.
And you got all yours out. So that's quite a few. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm counting.
Yeah, but even if I got 15, you still would have gotten, like at least 8 or something.
So anyways, yeah. There's some point scoring opportunities out here, and you're busy trying to manage that hand and those actions that you need. And that can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you needed a market action to finish an apostle, and you couldn't find a market card.
Yeah. And so you're deciding at the beginning of your turn which card is best going to give you the actions and the opportunities necessary to just optimize your game. And it can be paralyzing a little bit to think about what card you want to play. And then at the end of every turn, of course, you can buy a Mahane card, which is a card that's going to be a little bit more powerful than your starting cards. And then these 33 AD cards can only be acquired off the board. And is there cards that give these?
No, only in the other player game, in the other variant.
So just off the board,
players, there's
yeah.
cards.
So there's a benefit on the board if you place there, and these are really powerful.
You know, maybe there. I don't think
They
there's
have
cards
3
that-
icons on the
Maybe there's
bottom.
cards in that deck that let you draw that card. I don't know.
So those are pretty nice if you can get your hands on them.
It's just hard to get them.
But then they're only there temporary. Once you get them, they go in your hand. Once you spend them, they get discarded and put back in the deck. You don't get to keep them. So that's kind of a temporary deck building mechanism, which works well. I like it. It keeps the game tight. Oh, I forgot to tell about this tile. You have the opportunity to not play a card and play this tile. Everybody gets one at the start of the game. If you hang on to it towards the end of the game, it's 5 points. So we didn't get those added on. No, did we? You add those on? Okay. But if you don't want to play a card, you can play this tile and do what?
One of the apostle actions.
Oh, okay, one of the apostle actions? Wow, that might have been worth
So
it.
you could use that tile to switch 2 players.
Yeah.
That would definitely might have been worth it. It might have helped me. I might have.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have done that. I could have gotten you off away from Jesus.
That would have been 7 points, and you would have got 7.
But I would have lost 5 for using the tile, so I would have only got 2. I don't know.
But yeah, there's enough to think about to make the game entertaining. Generally, when you see a Christian-based game, I mean, when I would see one, I would always go, I just feel like it's going to be a weak game. I guess I don't mean that in an insulting fashion, but usually board game designers aren't going to choose this as a theme because it's going to be controversial. And so this game, they judge very harshly. I've already read comments on Board Game Geek where people are, they just would never play a game with this theme, and it's their
There's
prerogative.
lots of games they don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to. The theme is interesting to us, historically accurate, and we enjoy it, and we're going to hang on to it. And again, somebody on Board Game Geek's going to come up with something to shorten things up a little bit in this 2-player affair.
It's just too long.
Yeah.
It starts to feel like, are we done yet? By the time you get to, it starts to slow down at the end, and you're limited on what you can do because everything's out there, and you're like, is this over yet?
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, it gets to the point where, you're very limited on the things you can do. I was getting very limited.
I know.
And so it was like, come on, can I trigger the end of this game somehow? Well, just a brief overview of this game. Again, I would recommend this game to people who know how to play board games because there's a little bit to it, which is great for hobbyists, and we've had this game on our radar since we heard about it. And there's another game coming out, Ezra and Nehemiah, from Garfield Games. It's really a heavy game.
It's heavy and it's like 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's 2 hours, and it's probably going to be outside our realm.
We probably won't even try that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I might play at a convention or something, but I doubt if I would bring that home.
And then there's another one called Flood, but it's mean.
Flood, I heard of that. I've not even
It's very
looked at
take that sound. It sounds like
Yeah.
from what we've read.
But yeah, there's some Christian-based games out there. They're showing up more and more, and this one is absolutely beautiful to look at on the table. It's fun to play. Again, the theme, you make all your Jesus joke cracks when we're playing the game. Let's get close to Jesus. You're moving me away from Jesus. And have a lot of fun with the game. It's an excellent effort by Carmen Jimenez. It's a wonderful game. We're going to hang on to it for sure. Again, the publishing is fantastic, and the game is fun. It just takes a little bit long, and that's just a nitpicky thing. So.
And I do want to try it with 4.
Yeah.
I would love to try it with 4 people.
Yeah, I would love to try it with 4 just because you have no friendly followers.
Just to see what it's like.
3 would be a little different because we could flip it over and use the favors, but 4 would be outstanding. But yeah, I bet you it's better at 4.
I would like to try it. I bet it is too. I mean, it was fun at 2.
I bet you it's better at 4.
But I bet it's better at 4. Because then you'd be able to get more of those. There's a lot of rewards on that board, and they're all covered up with the friendly followers.
Too, with 4 people, it seems like the apostles would disappear quicker.
Maybe. I'm wondering if the game would go faster with 4 just because you'd be putting more stuff out there. I don't know.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Hey, that's enough of that.
We're rambling again.
This is Ierusalem, and we're going to pair it off with the antithesis of Bible doctrine, Darwin's Journey. Charles Darwin, of course, and his beagle going through the Galapagos Islands and constructing and crafting his theory of evolution. and we loved that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, played well. And we love this game. The theme just puts it over the top for us. If you get a chance to try it, go to a convention and try it, do it. If this is enough, if you say, oh, you know what, I would like to try that game and you want to buy it, hey, that's great too. You'll love the game if this theme is attractive to you. So that's it for Bones Collector today. Make sure you please take a second and like our videos. Let us know what you think if you've played this Ierusalem game. Let us know what you think about Christian-based games. I mean, make a comment of any kind. We'd like to hear from you. Please like and subscribe and keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet because of games like Ierusalem and because board gaming is just plain fun anyways. We'll see you the next time on the Bones Collector. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. Today, Lori and I just finished playing Darwin's Journey for the third time. And Darwin's Journey, I just looked up everything. It's a 2023 title by Simone Luciani and Nestor Mangone, and it's published by Thundergriff Games. And I always tell you about the publishing job. It's fantastic in this game. A super nice box.
The box is thick. It's skinny but thick.
Linen
It's very thin.
Linen cardstock throughout. All the components are wonderful and wood, and the board is beautiful and thick. Tiles are nice. It's Euro-y goodness through and through.
And this is the retail.
This is the retail edition, absolutely. And I don't know, I think the seals are the only really difference.
Yeah, they're plastic.
They're some kind of plastic, which people are complaining about. So, and you get a player aid that comes with the game. Just a paper player aid. And the player boards are nice. They're not paper, they're cardboard. And yeah, that's the publishing job. The rule book is big font that you can read, and it's pretty descriptive, a little bit confusing at times through the rule book. But this is a kind of a worker placement, contract fulfillment type of game. You're going to start out the game drafting crew cards, and on these crew cards in the upper right hand corner are colored seals. Those will be the 3 seals that you're going to start the game out with, and you're going to simply put them on your board in these first 3 spaces, and they give you a wild. So when your worker is there, he can go anywhere. But these seals will determine what spaces, action tiles, and diary spaces you can go to, and you have to have those exact seals for that worker. Now, as that worker gets upgraded with quite a few seals, you open up some silver and gold opportunities, which are extra actions. I know this is probably meaning nothing to you, but it's just the way it works. So the workers are going to get progressively upgraded. They're going to level up. They're going to level up if you've got enough seals on your board, and you have to pay to put these ones on here after a while. The first 2 are free, and then after that you're going to pay $1, $2, and $3 depending on how far you get on your player board. But it does open up the game, and it does accelerate things, but it accelerates slowly. So it can be a little frustrating. Then also you can with down here on the bottom half of the board is where the Beagle, the Darwin ship Beagle, is going to be sailing along, and your ship, each player will have a ship, and you get to try to stay up with the Beagle. If you do, you're going to be able to complete these goal tiles that are down here. If you don't, those won't apply to you, and you'll be minus points for every one of these lines you are behind the Beagle. So you could be losing a lot of victory points if you don't at least move your ship a little ways up the track. And it's hard to do. This is a very sandbox feeling game. You cannot do everything in this game because there's so much going on and there's so many steps that you have to take to enable you to do certain things, like getting the perfect seals. And then also, I didn't show you on your crew cards, you can see down here at the midsection, it has goals that you have, seals that you have to have, and if you can put those seals together in the same line, so you have to have 2 green, 2 blue, and a red for this card, which I did. two green, two blues, and a red in that line, and I was able to complete that card. It has to be in the same line, so it's very difficult to do. I don't see anybody doing all three of these unless you just did nothing but that, and that would not be a winning strategy. But I was able to put one of them together, and then you simply turn it over, and you have to point the arrow on the back of the card towards the worker that completed that, and you can't use that worker to complete another crew card that you have. So there's a lot of rules to this game, and it can be a little bit daunting and overwhelming. There's so many things you can do on this board. The thing that I want to mention is this museum can be so confusing as not only how you score and work that museum, but how beneficial is that towards the end of the game. I mean, again, we've played this game 3 times and I still have yet. This is kind of a keep up with the Joneses. If you see somebody screaming away on this track, because it has multipliers on here, and you're going to multiply it in the times the number of rows that you've completed in the museum. And so in order to do that, you have to bring these tiles that are off the board into the museum with an action, and then what happens is you're going to multiply those times wherever you are on this track. Well, you're not going to, if one person's running away with that, you're certainly going to try to move your marker up and stay with them at least within a reasonable distance without even, you really don't even have to affect that museum. You just don't want to let them run away with the multiplier, because everybody gets that multiplier effect. So if you don't have to be in the lead, but you have to at least be on the board. That museum mechanism to me felt like, again, it was just something you did and just stayed up with the Joneses. You don't really want to focus on that per se. Some of the other strategies you can focus on, like moving your explorers on these 3 tracks, because you get a lot of benefits doing that. Acquiring seals to complete these objective tiles and the crew cards is a very smart strategy. And you have the ability to put lenses on these diaries and special action tiles, and when you place that lens, you simply pay the cost that's underneath it, and you can take that action one time without having to have the seal requirement. So it's important for you to think about that. Not to mention, some objective tiles ask you to have so many lenses out on these action spaces. But there is a lot going on in this game. I mean, my brain's feeling a little mushy right now having played it. But I think that's one of the things you have to get used to, is there's so many things you can do that you want to try to do a little bit of everything. Well, you can go that route, or try to focus on a couple of things that aren't the museum. I mean, the museum is just something you're just going to try to stay up with the competition. The rest of this you can go after as hard as you want to. This is a very complex game. Again, we're doing this video with Ierusalem by Carmen Jimenez was the designer's name, and this is a very reputable designer. This is a very good game by Simone Luciani and Nestor Mangone. Very, very good game. Very fun design. Lots of things going on your player board, and lots of rules, and it's a very strict. The economy in it is very strict. I don't know how much I like playing this game, just because there's, for us, and this is just us, we're seeing.
And we've only played it twice.
No, we played 3 times.
3 times.
So we played 3 times, and it's just, but I don't know. Maybe the 5th play might be a little better. I don't know. I'm going to play it a couple more times, and we do have the expansion, Firelands it's called, or something like that. Fireland or Firelands, and it changes. It's got a whole bottom half of this board and introduces a couple of card mechanics. And time is a currency in the game, and so we're going to try that and see how that works. But this is a pretty heavy game for us. Again, I like some of his other games a little better than this. And I have other Euro games in my library that I would pick over this, like Sabika, that was recent, and Stroganoff I like better than this. And it's just a sandboxy game is kind of hard to figure out. It takes a while, because you have to figure out what all the strategies are before you can pick one that best suits you, and it takes repeated plays to make that happen in your brain. So it's a wonderful theme, and the artwork on this cover is fantastic, everything about the publishing job of this game is great. It's a wonderful design. I could highly recommend this for people who want to play heavy Euro games, and there's going to be a lot of heavy gamers out there that are going to like this game. We haven't decided if it's for us, and I really haven't decided if I had more fun playing Jerusalem or Darwin's Journey. Jerusalem's more of a compact. It just doesn't have all the mechanics going on that this one does. So for me, that might be a little more fun. I don't have to work that hard. This is a lot of work intellectually, and there's so many things again that you can do. There's plenty of playthroughs on YouTube where you can watch people play this game and they can explain it to you. But trust me, if you like a nice, and I'm talking about, this is around a 4, I would think, on Board Game Geek, if I had to look it up. They rate things on a scale of 1 to 5, and this is probably a 4 up there. And but it just feels, even though it's only a 4, because I have games I played that are heavier than that, but when it becomes to a sandbox style game where you can't and won't do everything, you're just going to have to pick your path and go for it. Those games are a little bit harder to master. So if that makes sense to you, they're a little more confusing, a little bit harder to master. What was your favorite thing about
Well,
it?
when I played it the first time,
Yeah.
I pretty much ignored the museum, and I did way better. This time I tried to use the museum, and I failed miserably scoring points because I couldn't keep up. I didn't keep up with the ship. It's not something you can just pick up and play. You
Yeah.
need to play it
This,
several times to
would-
figure out what you're
I
doing.
would say this game takes 5 plays before you
Yeah.
just make a decision on whether you're going to.
It's a fun game. I liked it. It just takes a long time, and it's a lot of thinking.
There's a lot of thinking. Because even when you work in the museum, you've got part of your player board committed to that also.
Yep.
So you're trying to put these clear markers on your player board to show that you can deliver those.
But you've researched them, and they
Research
can be
them,
delivered.
They can be delivered,
Yeah.
yeah. So, gosh.
And you need them for some of the objective tiles. You have to have these things on there for the objective tiles. I mean,
And these letters, correspondence, this correspondence diary, when you do the correspondence diary and you have 3 tiles that are going to be random, and there comes like 12 or something.
Yeah.
Quite a few of these tiles, and you're just going to pick 3 of them and have them in the game. And that's going to change your game dramatically, depending on what these are. We just happen to have 2 of them with money,
yeah.
so we could use them to get coins. Again, it's a tight economy, and so money's going to be, you're going to have very little in the bank when you're playing this game, and so those tiles are very important. And if those money tiles weren't there, you would have to get your income at a couple of different spots, like these objective tiles where you get $3 when you go there, and up here when you take first player you get $2. So that would be another way to acquire coins if you needed some.
go ahead.
So yeah, we just stopped the videoing a minute to look it up on Board Game Geek, and it is a 3.84. I said 4. I'm pretty close, and I can usually tell the complexity of a game. And I have found out that for Lori and I, usually 3.5 or less is that's kind of our threshold. I don't have many games that are up there in that 4.0 stratosphere. But the hardest thing in this game to figure out and use is the museum. The rest of it's pretty, I think it's pretty understandable. You just have to remember some of the tiny rules. And again, the thing that we found out was very difficult. Let me grab my workers here, and I struggled with, not so much Lori, but I struggled with this. And I have a bad habit of this in worker placement games, and I wanted to tell you guys about it, is that I would take a worker, and maybe...
Take it, yeah.
Take a worker. So I would grab this guy, and I would say, let's see, where do I want to go with this guy? And I'm thinking the whole time, what do I want to do? And then I look down, I'm like, wait a minute, where did I take this guy from? Because it matters. It matters where you took that guy off your player board. So I would suggest, and we're going to do this, we're going to number these 1, 2, 3, 4 from the top down so that we know where we took that worker from. Just we have stickers we're going to put on these guys. That way, because even when you're picking this up in your hand, you're like, it's just a habit when you're doing worker placement. And you're going to like, well, what do I want to do with this? And you look down, you're like, oh God, where did I take that guy from?
Yeah.
I mean, it happened to me more than once.
Yep.
So and maybe you wouldn't have a problem with that, but I did. I had an issue with it, and so we're going to number those guys so that I don't cheat. Because I'll cheat if I get the chance.
I tried a couple times to cheat. You caught me, so.
But yeah, that's Darwin's Journey. It's a wonderful game. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet. And I will see you the next time with another game on the Bones Collector. Bye-bye.